Alright, another little video. This is for my son and for other sons out there. The title of this video is Dissent. One of the powerful things that we have in life is to be able to dissent. We can take the word of somebody and we can question it. That's what it is. There's many ways of doing this. I'm also going to be working while I'm doing this. I got work to get done, and I have this on my mind. So, your government officials, you need to have a little dissent, question their motives. You know, question their motives, question why they're going to do things, why they're going to use your taxpayer resources, and so forth. Specifically, what I want to talk about dissent on this topic is for you boys stuck in a single parent home, specifically like a single mother home. And more specifically, for those boys, making a mess, for those boys that hear the demonization of their dad all the time. Right? Now, one of the things that is important to know is that chances are your dad loves you. Really does. For my son, love him dearly. I just got put in a situation where I had my son living with me full time, and for whatever reason, the judge decided to take him away, even though his mother breaks the rules. Even though his mother only wants him for money, because her one child, she has Social Security death benefits for one child that's ending this month, and she's being taken me to court for custody because money, that's all it is. My son's become a paycheck. Unfortunately, a lot of boys out there, you boys are paychecks to your mothers. Not all of you, I know that. I know that there's some hardworking, good mothers out there trying to do the best they can. For whatever reason, I don't care if the judge is Republican, Democrat, yada yada yada, that judge will 100% support this. The judge will not give the father, even if the father had custody of the kid for years, when you bring up the issues, and it doesn't matter, But as you boys start getting older, you're going to be teenagers now, 14, 15, 16, 17. You've probably lived a life of being shamed into not having your voice heard, right? That you're told that if you question things, you know, you're led to believe that you're bad, you're evil, whatever. It's on you to question these things. I should have done that. It's on you to question these things. You have to find that courage in you to dissent and raise your voice and ask the pertinent questions. Make your mothers tell you the truth. And if this applies to your father, the answer is the same. Ask the questions. Be brave. You're going to be told that you're not allowed to be brave, that you need to keep your mouth shut. You just need to do what you're told because, you know, what I've heard so many times, well, why? Why do I need to do this? Because I'm your mother. That's not a real reason. Be a dissenter. Dissent against that. Might not have to change that about that. Let's cut that and find out. I'm doing this work here because I got to get work done as well. Okay? So, and also, I think it's kind of cool to actually be able to do videos while I'm working. Boys, you need to be not afraid to get your hands dirty. It's actually kind of fun to get your hands dirty because at the end of the day, you get to see the product in which you wanted to build. Okay, here. I may not have to replace this bulb. But find out in just a second. Doesn't look like it, but it looks like I just cut the PVC on the wrong side too, so I might have to replace it anyways. Well, sometimes you just make boneheaded mistakes. I'm gonna have to go back to the big blue box store again, and unless I can figure out how to cobble something together real quick. Anyways, that's cut out of here. Oops. In the meantime, reducers. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I want to tell you that Father's love to his son is enormous. We want to teach you everything we possibly can. We want to be proud of you so much. And if your parent, you don't feel like that they're doing that, they don't teach you, they don't sit down and talk with you, they don't do things with you, you need to ask why. Why they're not doing anything with you, why, and are you going to get the wrath of it? Probably, but you know, what's actually going to happen, right? What's actually going to happen is nothing. You get to ask your questions. You know, if your parent hits you, call the police, be a dissenter, hold that parent accountable. They want to hit you because you're asking questions. You know, that's part of being a dissenter, is holding people accountable. A lot of people don't like to be held accountable. They fight against it so bad. And that's the great thing about being a man, is that not only do you hold yourself accountable, you hold others accountable. And you don't allow others to dictate to you. As you get older, you need to start realizing that. You need to start realizing the power that you have. And for anybody else that's, you know, any boys out there that have, say for instance, I'll give you the situation I have right now. My ex, not only does she want money, a lot of money, she wants me to be able to pay a second mortgage and all our utilities and food. And do you think any of that will ever go to my son? No, he'll sit, on the Xbox and slowly atrophy away. His brain will go and everything else. But he's also going to hear how all the evil things happen and why it's my fault and so forth. Even though he knows better, he's lived with me his entire life. And son, if you are listening to this, you do know that. We've talked about this. That you do have the power of your own mind. You know what you've seen in reality. And you are allowed to be a dissenter. I will always 100% back you up. So, with that being said, some situations are going to be somewhere in the neighborhood or something like that one parent wants to convince the kid that he's mentally deficient. Because she's spent her entire life in mental institutions, being seen by shrinks, has had the whole cluster B spectrum of borderline personality, bipolar, histrionic, and then she's convinced another some other warden of the court that she only has PTSD. Well, if you study this stuff, the root of all cluster B is PTSD. So I don't disagree with that. However, there's much more than that. But here's the thing, is that these parents want to convince you that you are the problem. You have all these problems. You are defective. You are deficient. You got to dissent and you got to say it's not me. You got to hold on. You got to be strong, because you know what? It's going to be hard. It's going to probably be one of the hardest things that ever happens. And mentally, your resilience. If the harder you fight, your resilience will grow, and you will be granite. You're going to come out of it damaged. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But you're going to be strong for it, And then you should be able, as you grow older, to pragmatically think about things and figure out what happened. Hopefully you have a dad there that really loves you and wants to help you through these things, because he knows exactly what's happening, regardless of what the judge says, regardless of what, you know, the mother that's been in jail for domestic violence multiple times and been in mental hospitals and has attempted to commit suicide multiple times. And no matter what, you know, that your dad will always be there for you, 100% of the time, all the time. So be a willful dissenter. Doesn't mean when you dissent that you get aggressive, that you get mean. You don't want that to be used against you either, because unfortunately, boys, you're also male and you're also hated by many in this government, many people that are, well, all the protests and riots out there for years, men have been the hated class. And they're looking for a reason to make you weak, to shame you. There's a reason why when you go to school that you're shamed all the time. You may not realize it, but you're not allowed to run. They're told you that you have problems. Oh, he's got ADHD. No, it's just a teenage boy with a lot of energy, right? He's got a wild imagination. Great, he has to have an imagination, because men build things. You don't build things without an imagination, right? You have to have that imagination, but you're going to be demonized for it. Don't allow that to happen. You can have people say that, but be a dissenter. Be a polite dissenter. You know, if you know, do not raise your hand to anybody. Do not even raise your voice. All you have to say is, I disagree with you, and here's why. And even with the here's why, you don't even have to give a here's why, to be honest with you. Because the people that I'm talking about, those mothers and potentially fathers out there that are doing this stuff, they don't care why. They want you to follow their will. They want to break you. What's going to happen with these, especially with these toxic mothers that demand that their sons or their kids are mentally defective and all this stuff, and they're going to make them see shrinks and all this stuff, even though nobody else in their life has ever seen this. They're the only ones that have ever seen this. They're going to force it. The court's going to make you do it because, well, she says so. Because the court doesn't care that she has spent the past 25, 30 years in mental institutions herself, and that because she has expertise in it. Well, like I've always said, that, you know, I'm fat, I eat a lot, it doesn't make me a chef. I'm no expert, right? Because I consume the product of somebody else. And with these people that have spent all their lives talking to shrinks and being conditioned by the mental facilities, doesn't make them any different. They're not experts in this, right? They think that because they've sat around and did that. But in chances are, that's probably the only thing they're good at, and they're not even that good at it, because they're misdiagnosing everybody else, and everybody else around them is the problem. They're never the problem. To include you, boys, to include you. Be a dissenter. Say, I'm not the problem. I'm A-okay. I'm going to do everything I can. Now, another way you can dissent is to take care of yourself, right? Make sure that you take daily showers. Get outside. Brush your teeth. Make sure your laundry's done, right? Take care of yourself, because these toxic parents, they don't want you to take care of yourself. They just want to keep you in a dungeon so they can collect a paycheck. And then one day you'll be gone, and then they'll always have that drama. Well, he just doesn't blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Take care of yourself. Always take care of yourself. Get stronger. If you're locked in your room for 20 hours a day, because in front of, you're supposed to be raised by an Xbox, get down there and do push-ups, right? If you can only do 5 push-ups, do 5. Then take a minute or two break and do 5 more. Then take a minute or two break and try to do 10. Get as close as you can. I don't care if it's 3. Do 3, but shoot for 10. And then take another minute or two break, and then do as many as you possibly can. And do that every other day, right? And in just a couple months, you'll be able to sit there and do 75, 100 push-ups. Do them correctly, too. Practice doing things correctly. You don't want to learn incorrect form, right? Because all you're doing is practicing doing something wrong. If you have access to the internet, your parent allows you to get online. Some of the warning signs that you want to be a dissenter, and what should spur you to be a dissenter. Does your parent care that if you talk to anybody else? Are you allowed to talk to anybody? Maybe you're a ham radio operator, but that parent doesn't allow you to talk on the radio because they're afraid that people might hear what happens in the house. Are you allowed to have a cell phone? And if so, are you allowed to talk to anybody? Or is that only so your other parent can call you all the time to make sure you're locked in your room? Are you allowed to ever talk to your other parent? Are you ever allowed to talk to any friends? Are you allowed to talk to anybody other than that one parent? Right? Does your parent lead you to believe or allude to the fact that you should never tell anybody what happens over there, and if you do, that you're going to somehow get punished? If that's the case, you need to understand that that is weird, it's wrong, and it's not healthy, and you need to be a dissenter. You need to start standing up for yourselves. Because chances are your dad is going to do everything he possibly can to stand up for you, but he can't help you while you're there. You have to be the willful dissenter. You have to start realizing that you're a man. You have a lot of power in your own life, right? And you have to start exerting that power. You don't ever have to raise your voice to exert your power. You don't have to ever raise your fist to exert your power. And as a matter of fact, if that other parent starts to beat you or hit you or anything like that, take the punches. Then call the police. And if they don't allow you to call the police, get out of the house, go to a neighbor and call the police. And if that doesn't happen, run out of the house and you wait down the street until you find the police. And then you tell them, you hold that parent accountable. You do not allow that to happen to you. You have to stand up for yourself. And trust me, some of these parents, when you stand up to them, they will get violent because they don't like to be held accountable. They expect you to be accountable for everything and to keep your mouth shut and just do what you're told, even though the things that you're being told are inconsistent. And one thing that you get in trouble for today is something you might get praised for tomorrow, and you do not know what's happening. You don't have consistency. You don't know what the reality of life is, and that's the part where they're trying to brainwash you. And you have to realize that that's not real life, and you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to be at the center, and it's a healthy thing, and it will make you stronger. And there's a world of men out there that will always support you for this. And a lot of women will support you for this too, because women, real women, don't want weak men. They don't want pushover men. They want somebody that's strong and can take care of a family and take care of themselves and take care of everybody. That's what a real woman wants. You're being taught what the feminist women want, is that a meek, weak little man that's not allowed to have energy, not allowed to have imagination, it's not allowed to succeed, and should just be shut up, put in a corner, and play Xbox, right? Be a dissenter, and don't be a part of the problem. I know that I'm not blaming you for being a part of the problem, unless you know what the problem is and you're not doing anything about it. And then that starts to become on you. And I know that you may be scared because you've always been raised to never stand up to your parents, or at least stand up to your mom. But you have to. You're going to have to eventually someday. And it's better to do it sooner rather than later. Don't let the other parent convince you that you're mentally broken, or that you're weak, or that there's something wrong with you. And you know yourself. Do everything you can to take care of yourself. Keep yourself clean. Keep your rooms clean. Keep yourself strong. Eat healthy. Study something. Don't just sit there and stare at the Xbox. Do something else. If your parent doesn't let you get out and doesn't let you go outside or whatever, and always has a million and one excuses out there, it's 72 degrees, it's too hot out there, it's 71 degrees, it's too cold out there, it's cloudy, it's windy, it's sunny, it's still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the excuse is. Find a way of educating yourself. And if you can't even do that, steal a pencil and paper. Steal a pencil and paper and write down your ideas. Write a story. Draw a diagram. Start thinking. Use the meat between your ears for something good, because that's what's going to really carry you forward as you go forward in life anyways, is your ability to think, your ability to create, your ability to figure things out, right? I'm a little irritated. And not at you boys. Not at you boys at all. Irritated that, I have my son, his mother wants to demand that he's mentally deficient and has been pressing for it for years. that he needs to go see psychologists, even though nobody else in his life has ever said anything about that. They all say he's a smart, well-liked, brilliant boy that works grades above his own level, but somehow that's being portrayed as being weak and frail, and he's still 5 years old mentally, and the judge buys it. The judge doesn't even care to ask another opinion. And unfortunately, boys, there's probably a lot of you out there in the same situation. So understand that your dad's probably doing everything they can. The court systems are 100% against men. And one day we're going to have to all be dissenters and change that, right? When the feminists brought up a few months back that they wanted to bring back the ERA, something that they brought up 100 years ago, back when they started abortion clinics in black neighborhoods and all this other stuff and started tearing up families apart, they brought up the ERA. Well, I think feminists, they brought it up very shortly, just for about a week or two, because then they realized that if they bring that ERA up, that's the Equal Rights Amendment that never got passed 100 years ago, that men would have an equal right, and we could force equal rights. And maybe it's actually men that need to bring up equal rights, the Equal Rights Amendment. And that would be the most powerful form of dissent possible. On the short term, when you're at home, if that parent is always bad-mouthing the other parent and they never say anything else, at least that parent should never talk about the other parent, right? But if that one parent's always bad-mouthing the other parent, saying bad things, stand up and say, I don't want to hear this, and you're not supposed to be saying this, because I guarantee the judge doesn't want to hear this, or hear that you've been, this is how you've raised me. And then if you say something like that, make sure that you hold her accountable or him accountable. Saying, it's like, well, because they're going to say, well, I need you to tell a judge that you want to be here, and I want yada, 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 and constantly press that and brainwash you with that idea that, your other parent hates you, your other parent's bad, your other parent's evil, and yada, yada, yada. You need to be honest, and even if you're not allowed to talk, you need to stand up and talk about what happens at that other house. I know that you boys are told, don't talk about what happens over here. Don't say anything that happens over here. Your dad doesn't know anything that ever happens over there, right? And he has it for years. He's got enough information over the course of like 7 or 8 years that can fit on one side of a 3x5 card, And it all comes down, you need to speak, and that's another powerful form of dissent. Like if your parent is telling you, well, we're going to go see this, and you're going to get a recommendation to go to a mental health professional because I think you have problems. You need to be the dissenter and stand up and tell that person, well, this is what happens at my mom's house, or this is what happens at my dad's house, and this is what I'm told, and I don't think I'm broken, and this is why I'm always told that I'm broken, and it's happened for years, and you need to stand up for yourself. You need to stand up for yourself hardcore, because I tell you what, if you do stand up for yourself, that parent may not want to put up with you, because they don't want to have somebody that's going to hold them accountable. They don't want to have somebody that's going to make them do the right thing. All right, and I guarantee your dads out there, they want to raise you and teach you to do the right thing, and one of the right things to do is to be held accountable. We're all held accountable. You can't be scared of that. It's what it is. We're all held accountable. Held accountable is not being a bad thing. You're held accountable if you do good things. You're told, hey, you did a great job, and you can hold yourself accountable, and then you hold your team accountable if you have a team. Hey guys, we succeeded. We did a great job here. Bad things too. People, the personality type, and I'm sure the boys watching this, the personality type. This is the other personality type doesn't want to be held accountable because they just want to say that they can do whatever they want, and that's a dangerous thing because nobody should be allowed that. Anyways, boys, this has gone on about 25 minutes. I might edit some of this out, I might not. And this is filmed on a new GoPro. Well, it's not new, it's used, but it's new to me. And be a dissenter. Your fathers love you. Know that. Always know that. All right. Have a great day. Oh, by the way, the soundtrack for this, I'll put a link down here when I put this online. The soundtrack for this is an old Metallic song, Master of Puppets. So after watching this video, I want you to hit that link, and I want you to watch Master of Puppets, or listen to the song. And for nothing else, because it's just a good song. You get your blood boiling. And if you could, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to this channel. and share this with any of your friends that you know that this could be useful to. There's a lot of fathers out there that want to be a part of their son's lives, and they're just not allowed to. Or they've always been a part of their son's life, they've been 100% part of their son's life, but a judge all of a sudden demands that he's ripped out of the house so that a mentally ill mother can go out and fuck with their heads. So, and you tell me what kind of content you want me to put out, what kind of advice I can put out. And this is also a lot primarily for my son, so hopefully he gets an opportunity to watch these videos. Love you. Have a great day.